How's it going? Welcome to the shop. Hope you're having a great day. I'm going to show you why I bought this, even though I started with this, and I'm shooting on Canon right now. Alright, are you ready? Here we go! Welcome back. If you're new to this channel, it's mainly for knife making and tutorials, but on Sundays I also do a live stream where I talk about what our passions are and how we can build our passions and to develop our passions into something that might become more than a hobby. If you watched the last video, you know I got sick in the shop. I thought I was getting better, but it actually turned into a really bad sinus infection, so I thought I'd do the video on the 6400 instead of working in the shop and let it get cleaned out a little bit. As I said in the beginning, I started on Canon, and then I'm shooting on Canon right now. Everything I've bought and looked at, you know, I follow guys like Peter McKinnon, Matty H, all these guys, you know, Casey Neistat. I've been a Canon guy, big Canon guy, but Canon refuses to put out 1080, 120, 4K, and log, and I need those. You know, I've got this one camera. It's not like I'm switching to Sony, but I need a camera that can do the things that Sony does. And this camera, no time limits, all that stuff, seemed like the great choice. And the more I get into it and get away from the Canon idea, the more I'm thinking I might even look at the Fuji X in 4 or 5 months and sell all my Canon gear. Because Canon's just not keeping up with us. If you look on every 6400 review and all that in the last couple months, you'll see me comment how Canon broke my heart. They put out a camera within like $1,200 range. Perfect. And I was like, all right, here it comes. 1080, 120p, 4K. And they put out the RP, and I was like, all right, maybe I won't have to go to Sony. I can just buy another Canon. Nope, they went full frame. At $1,200, us mid-consumers, we don't need full frame. We need 120 frames at 1080, we need 4K, and we need log. Believe me, I would have loved to buy another Canon. And a lot of people in those comments were like, oh, you're betraying Canon. I can't believe that. No, Canon is betraying us. Why can't they just put out a simple Canon? And then the other comments I got is, why don't you just get the M50? I don't want 720, I want 1080p, 120 frames per second. I want log and I want 4K. Canon, come on, you guys. I would gladly pay $500 to $800 more than the M50 just for those 3 options alone. So I went to Sony. I had no choice. Now for center shots like this, I'm gonna still use my Canon because I love the color Canon and I just got Canon on the brain and it's hard to get out of. So enough ranting and raving about Canon and what they need to do. Let's get to the camera bag update. Roll the slow-mo. Alright, had to shoot a little bit of that B-roll with my new camera, of course. Got the slow motion, you might as well use it. I am interested to see how it all turns out because I actually used my Canon for some of it, for the in and out shots. Though I might have to cut it out, we'll see how it works out. So to see stuff like this, I'm still going to use my Canon, the one-on-one. But where I need a wider shot, where I need 4K and stuff like at the grinder so I can downscale to 1080p, I can move the frame around if I'm out of frame or something. Like say this was way over here and couldn't get me, well with 4K it's more likely I can move it in the frame and stuff. The main thing I'll be honest with, I've been shooting all my B-roll and stuff, my slow motion with my iPhones, and that's what this is and that's what this is. 2 old iPhones with moment lenses on it. And the Osmo 2. But I think it was time to step up to something that's professional. Well, something that's consumer grade, just below professional. So this should be real fun. I can't wait to see how that footage turns out. To be honest, I had to shoot it twice because I shot it in 30 frames per second instead of 120. I forgot to flip it over. Now they say Sony, all I've read about Sony is, oh, the menu systems are so hard to learn. The menu systems are so hard to learn. And I will admit, it's difficult not being able to just touch the screen and have everything move around. But learning the menus really isn't that hard. And especially now that they have the My menu. See, I just have my picture profiles, file format, and interval shooting if I want to do time lapse. Boom. Basically, that's all I had to learn. No, I'm just kidding. But, you know, over time I'll get more comfortable with it. And I keep pressing the display to try to change everything, which that's one thing Canon has a lot better. So if you watch my last What's in My Camera Bag, you'll see that I had a Lumix G7. I had that for 2 weeks and I just could not get a good profile out of it. I couldn't get a good color. Everything looked yellow. When I walked from here to there, everything just went out of focus. I was trying to show my shop and everything was out of focus. So I returned it, and that's when they announced the a6400. And I went online and I bought a used 6300, and I bought a Metabones adapter. So for the last month I've been using Sony or learning Sony. I figured that way when the 6400 comes out, I'll at least know how to use Sony a little bit better. Which I was surprised how quick I actually learned it's Sony. The menu system really isn't that hard. And like the biggest things I love, you hit here for ISO, you roll here to go for your shutter speed, and then up here for aperture, or one of the three. I always do things backwards, so don't get me wrong. And with this one, you can assign the front button to start recording, which is awesome. I hated trying to push that. Since I have my arm messed up, I had to learn to play guitar with thumbnails. So that's why my nails are always long in my videos and stuff. I use it, that's my pick. I can't hold a pick anymore and play. But I digress. The awesome thing about the Metabones, I can use my old Canon. And that's what I was like, man, what lens do I want for Sony? And then I realized, when I bought the Metabones, I also bought the Sigma 16mm. And I was like, well, really, this is all I have. I mean, this is all I need for right now. And then I was looking for like maybe the 18mm or 18 to 55 Sony. But I realized with the Metabones, this is the same size. They don't really have a fast lens for Sony and the price range, and that's why I bought that Moza Air. So now I got a gimbal. I use Canon lenses with my Metabones. I wish this was the focal reducer, but they don't make a focal reducer that goes to EFS lenses. Now if you watched that last video, whew, man, this whole bag was a complete mess. I didn't know how to organize it. I think I had the camera back here, the second camera back here, you know, my Canon up here, you know, my Takino, my Takina 11 to 16, which goes here, is now on there. So that's usually right here. And then when I put the Canon back in the bag, I'll put this lens on it. So this goes back on the Canon goes right here, Takino goes right here. Then one big thing that I had problems with was all my cables and all that other stuff just going out of control. And especially now, I got an ND filter for both lenses. On this side, it's mainly for all my batteries. Power adapter. I always get these power bricks for my camera. Now on this tripod that this camera's sitting on, I have a power bank taped to it, and I just plug my Canon in. And that's why I needed a second camera, because I just leave my Canon on this tripod. I mean, I put it back in the bag, but anytime I'm in the shop, I leave it on the tripod and move the tripod around. That's why I like a second camera, just to have the mobility. I'm not moving from Canon to Sony. I'm moving up to Sony with Canon. I would have loved to move up to Canon from Canon, but like I said, they won't make a mid-range camera that's an all-around camera, which breaks my heart. I gotta admit, it really does. But that's alright. I'm learning Sony. It's always good to have diversity in your shots. I've been using the iPhone, so, and actually color grading the Sony, everyone's like, oh, Canon's got the better color, Canon's got the better color. Yeah, to an extent. But it's really not that hard to get Sony to match, at least from the 6300. This will be the first time I do it from this camera. I did use it for the live stream, and that's one thing I've got to learn, how to color grade the live stream, because it always looks, I either look too purple or I look too green. So, but that's about it. You know, nothing's upgraded. I just figured I'd throw this part in. You know, the Sigma lens, my camera, the Metabones adapter. If you remember with the G7, I had a bunch of adapters and a bunch of stuff, and I was saving up for lenses. So really, it didn't cost me much more, because I had been saving for the lenses and all that. So really, the reason I bought the 6300 is because I knew if I held on to that money, because remember, you had to wait. There was a pre-order for a month for the 6400, and I was like, oh man, I better buy the 6300 or I'm going to spend all that money and have no camera. So that's why I bought a used one. I didn't want to buy one new and return it, because that just seems like bad practice. I bought the used one. I took good care of it. I sent it back in the exact same condition it was in when I had it. And yeah, since I was saving for lenses, that another month gave me money to save for another lens. But since I didn't need the lens, and the Moza Air, actually it's the Air Cross, was $80 off. And it was like, bam, there's my budget. Canon lenses on the Sony or the Sigma, the Air Cross, and man, this should be fun. Well, I think that's about it. If you're new here, please consider checking out my knife making tutorials or even my live stream, because the live stream we talk about our passions and all that. Feel free to join in. It's Sundays at 3 p.m. I got Amazon links to all this stuff on my website, which is either on the card up here or it's all down in the link below. I'll actually put the link to the last video where I did what's in my camera bag, so you can see how bad I did with that Lumix G7. And I'll also put the video where I got sick down in the description too, and up on the cards. So thanks for stopping by. I'm feeling a lot better. So Sunday, come by and say what's up. Or Wednesdays and Saturdays, I usually try to get videos out. Now that I'm hopefully back on track and not sick, thanks for the support. I hope to see you in the next video. Hope everyone's having a great day. And as always, take it easy.